Fala galera, bora ver um vídeo para edificar a gente hoje. Edificar não questão de religiosidade, mas melhorar nosso cerebelo, ok? O vídeo vai ser de Math Can Be a Hobby, o nome do canal. Tá tela preta porque eu sou antiprofissional e esqueci de colocar o vídeo aqui. Agora eu coloquei. O nome do canal é Matemática Pode Ser um Hobby. New Series Intro to Pure Math. Mano, o YouTube me recomendou, tá? Esse canal é sobre matemática. Faz muito tempo que eu não estudo matemática. Então vamos ver, ué. Vamos edificar nosso lar. Vamos. Let's go. 13 minutinhos sem perder a amizade.
Hey, what's up? I'm so excited. We're going to run an actual proper course in basic mathematics. I have this idea that math can be a hobby. I know it can be because it's a hobby for me.
Também acho que pode ser um hobby, tá?
I freaking love math. I graduated with a degree in pure math 14 years ago. Then I went and worked in the software industry. I worked at big companies like Apple and Google and some others. And I met a lot of people over the years who studied math for fun. I think that that's just such an underrepresented category of people. There's a lot of people out there studying math just as a hobby because it's beautiful, because it's fun. Some of the most famous mathematicians that we remember, one of them who comes to mind is Pierre Fermat. He had a bunch of open questions for a long time, including one called Fermat's Last Theorem. Just this beautiful result that was only proved in the 1990s. He was, I believe, a lawyer. He studied math recreationally for fun as a hobby because it's beautiful and it's good for your brain. I think too many people are scrolling TikTok and not enough people are studying math. So we're going to run
Verdade, hein?
an introduction to pure mathematics and introduction to proofs for adults for fun using this terrific book by Serge Lang. Yeah, I invite you all to join and work through this book with me. So, if this is
Mano, eu não lembro quantos dias que tem, mas eu tô sem TikTok no meu telefone e sem Instagram. Não sei quantos dias que tem, mas tipo assim, é porque eu tava ficando muito tempo neles. Eu ainda posto vídeo no TikTok, igual esse vídeo vai estar no TikTok, porque eu uso o TikTok web só pra postar o vídeo, só isso. E o Instagram, eu tenho o Instagram ainda, só que não tá no meu telefone, mas se eu quiser entrar, eu entro pelo computador, que aí vai ser mais limitado, entendeu? Mas eu não entro também. Eu fiz meio que uma troca de dopamina. Eu tava bastante viciado até em essa dopamina rápida. Deve ter, eu não sei se tem 2 semanas ou 3. Eu não sei se tem 3 semanas já. Mas 2 semanas eu acho que tá aí. Mano, pra mim tá tranquilo até agora. O primeiro, segundo dia, terceiro dia, eu olhava no meu telefone pra ver se, tipo assim, costume, né? Tipo assim, não tinha nada pra fazer. Eu abria o telefone aqui, procurava o aplicativo do TikTok ou do Instagram pra ficar scrollando. Mano, costume de viciado. Mas depois parou. Aí eu trouxe hábitos novos. Eu trouxe o hábito da leitura, tá ligado? Eu trouxe o hábito do estudo. O que que eu trouxe de novo? Comecei a ver uma série. Eu já via série, mas tipo assim, eu comecei a ver uma série como se fosse, pô, distração, entendeu? É isso. Não tem nada a ver com o vídeo, mas vamos lá.
your first time here, I typically do a daily live stream. We're actually literally live right now. I just run my daily practice sessions, relearning math and also trying to develop like a higher level of mastery. I know all the math that's in this book, but I am practicing because I'm practicing how to teach. On the one side, that just sounds fun to me, man. Like it just sounds really fun to be able to teach intro to proofs and all of the middle school and high school curriculum. This is a high school book written in the style of a pure math book. That just sounds really fun.
A capa
Like if
bonita,
I
bem
didn't have to
básica,
make
né?
money, I might do that just purely for fun as a hobby. Like work every single exercise in this book and teach it to people. But then on top of that, I'm trying to pivot from a career in the software industry into teaching middle school or high school mathematics. And I have a theory that somebody could run an honors middle school algebra course out of this book. Like, I think that the United States curriculum just really does a disservice to students because we only show proofs in geometry. And we show this weird, watered down version of proofs that uses a table. It makes sense historically why we would show proofs in geometry because the most famous, most successful math book of all time is Euclid's Elements, which proved all of geometry. And it was based in this axiomatic formal system of math. But the thing that bothers me is that that book also included proofs of things that we would consider elementary math or middle school math, like things like the fact that there are infinitely many primes. That proof comes from Euclid. It's a beautiful proof. And real mathematics, mathematicians who are inventing new math and proving the fact that some new truth is forever true in any universe, we literally send out prime numbers into the galaxy, into the universe, using radio signals or something. I don't even know if there's intelligent life out there. We think that they would have discovered prime numbers. Like, this idea of prime numbers exists in the world.
Prime numbers é números primos?
It's a fundamental truth. The process of discovering truths is something that is common to all math. It's not just something that you do in
Eu sei que tem números primos em tudo, né?
geometry. Most of us learn math in this pattern matching style where you see a bunch of examples, a bunch of worked examples, and then you follow the pattern. But you don't understand why the pattern works in the first place. For some people like myself, that's harder to just memorize a bunch of patterns and not understand why the pattern works. It feels very arbitrary, and then you get questions like, when am I ever going to use this in the real world? Like, I don't feel like memorizing all these various recipes if I don't want to, become an engineer, or like I struggle to see why we're solving with polynomials with a quadratic equation or something. And like, the truth is that you're not going to ever get paid to solve something with a quadratic equation. Like, maybe. I know for sure I've never used a quadratic equation as a software engineer, but you use the mathematical reasoning behind the quadratic equation all the time. I think in every single industry. Like, the creativity and the method of abstraction and problem solving skills, like general problem solving skills that's inherent in proof writing, that you get paid for. That's what earns you the big bucks. It's the reasons why things are true, being able to make a concrete argument, showing high schoolers mathematical arguments. I like to just call them a mathematical.
Esse é um vídeo de introdução, né? Como tá no título, tá ligado? Ao lado aqui tem o livro, o vídeo 1, o vídeo 2, pá.
Argument is directly relevant to the real world. Like, somebody should teach basic propositional logic along with intro to proofs, and then suddenly you have debates. You have like the method of debating one point versus another and logical fallacies, and you get all like you get argumentation in non-numeric settings. Like, you get law. Law is so similar. Like, a legal case from an attorney is so similar to the axiomatic method. You have definitions, you have connectives, like if this, then that. You have previous results of previous laws, and you try to combine two different laws and show how this example, this case, is an example of these two different laws applied together or something. At least that's my understanding. I've never taken a single law class in my life, but I know that mathematics as a major is one of the best majors for a pre-law degree. Yeah, and so I'm just super excited about this. In stream, I'm going to do 1 week on middle school, high school fundamental math, Then I'll do a week of streams on college level math of calculus and linear algebra and maybe some others. And then I'm always structuring streams to have 1
O que é strings, velho? Fluxos.
week of graduate level math where I'm learning new math. For a while, we've been working representation theory, which is applying linear algebra to the mathematical study of symmetry, a very beautiful field that I'm learning live. So that's the structure. We're changing the stream structure to have more high school math, middle school, high school math, pre-calculus. We should just call this a pre-calc book. This is all math before calculus. I think is accurate, but it's done right. It's like done well. It's written in the style of a pure math book. I like it so far. I'm not too far into it, but so there's the practice sessions that are live. Then during these weeks where I'm working fundamentals, I'm going to be filming proper lectures without chat, but it's going to be a lecture on a section, and I'm going to try to follow a syllabus. I'm going to try to follow like a lesson plan, preparing for someday when I get a classroom of my own and I get to teach the little children pure mathematics. I'm excited, and I invite you all to follow along with me. Get this book. It's terrific, by Serge Lang. It's hard. I mean, it's a hard book, but like if you're the kind of person who likes to solve Sudokus, or if you're the kind of person who like you didn't feel like you did well in math in high school and you want to like come back and conquer it later on as an adult, like dude, this is such a better hobby than scrolling TikTok.
Muito melhor.
Like, get off of YouTube right now and go get this book and go work the first 2 exercises. They're actually harder than you might think, but
Não é porque eu sou agora o bastião da procrastinação. Procrastinação não, do fora TikTok, fora Instagram. Não é isso. Quer dizer que... Qual que você acha melhor? Você vê vídeos no TikTok todo dia, durante, não sei, 2 horas por dia, jogando baixo. Ou você estudar matemática durante 2 horas por dia. Qual que vai te levar mais longe? É isso? É esse o que eu falo. É isso. Ah, Mário, mas eu não posso assistir TikTok? Pode, velho. Pode, faz o que você quiser da sua vida. Mas pra mim tava me atrapalhando.
it's literally just addition. Let me show you. I can put this up to the camera, fair use and all that, right? Let me show you the first exercise set. Like, these are the very first problems for this book. And I think that somebody could teach an honors Algebra 1 course in middle school using this book. Dude. Those are the very first exercises. Justify each step using commutativity and associativity and proving the following identities. A plus B plus C plus D equals A plus D plus B plus C. Like, some people say, like, oh, math lost me when everything turned into letters. And I think that's a shame because we wait.
Isso era uma desculpa muito grande na escola. Que a matemática, depois que colocou letras, ficou mais confusa. Porque antigamente era 4 mais 2, aí depois é A mais B igual a Z.
Too long, in my opinion, until we start introducing letters. That's what real math is in some sense. Showing that for any numbers, this pattern always works. And there's a concrete, clear argument why. Yeah, so I'm excited about this.
Também acho.
We won't only be using this book, and I'm going to be jumping around like all over the place. In the foreword of this book, Lang recommends that you jump around as a teacher, which is awesome. This is another thing where I think that the U.S. curriculum is... I can only speak to the U.S. because I have only ever lived in the U.S. But we go very depth first, and we teach students to work 30 exercises from the quadratic equation or something. And then we do 30 more problems on something else about polynomials, or like completing the square to solve quadratic equations or something. I just think it's so much more valuable to jump around. Like, why don't we show matrix addition immediately after addition? Like, you can add 2 numbers. Like, you can add 1 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 1. Turns out that in math, you can also add blocks of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4 in like a little grid, plus 5, 6, 7, 8. You add one, like the top left numbers, and that's the new top left number. You can add the top right numbers, and that's the new top right number. You can add the bottom left and then the bottom right. And this forms a new field of math called linear algebra, and it's just the very beginning of this really incredibly beautiful field of math, which turns out to be, speaking from experience as an engineer, the most useful math in the world right now. Why don't we introduce that immediately, like with addition? Is that kind of crazy? Is that crazy? I think it's a good idea, because then it takes a little bit more work, but you can define multiplication of two blocks of numbers, and the regular numbers satisfy a times b equals b times a. Like 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. But blocks of numbers don't work that way. Block 1 times block 2 does not equal block 2 times block 1. Having examples from quote unquote more advanced math or different math, different fields of math, and then contrasting that with a simpler math, I think that that can be a really effective way to teach, at least for the right student. So I'm excited. Join me for this. Keep an eye out for lectures. I'm going to be posting these. This video is already longer than I planned. I should cut out something, but hey, it's live, so these things happen. Thank you for watching, and see you sometime in the streams. There's also going to be a paid group lesson.
Ok. Mano, matemática foi uma matéria muito difícil na minha escola, porque foi a única matéria que eu reprovei. Eu reprovei o semestre, faltava... O bimestre, né? Na verdade, o ano letivo faltava 40 pontos. Faltava só 40 pontos para distribuir o ano letivo. E eu estava precisando de 60 pontos. Como era só em matemática, eu poderia passar com... no próximo ano... com essa pendência. Só que eu tava revoltado que eu não tava aprendendo. Aí eu falei, pô, reprovo o ano inteiro, velho. Não aprendi nada esse ano. Eu tava revoltado. E aí, eu reprovei matemática. Eu repeti o primeiro ano 2 vezes. Na verdade, não foi o primeiro ano, foi o segundo ano. Repeti o segundo ano. Não 2 vezes, né? Eu repeti uma vez. Porque eu fiz e repeti. Repetir 2 vezes é você fazer, repetir e repetir. Eu repeti o segundo ano. E o terceiro ano eu terminei no supletivo. Mas eu fiz faculdade, olha só. E terminei a faculdade. É uma conquista, pô. Tô fazendo pós-graduação, hein? 2 pós-graduação. Vai, toma, chupa, velho. Aí, ouviu, tia Lourdes?